and welcome to today's episode of May Record a Day. Because today is day 12, I wanted to talk about the 12-inch single. The difference between a 12-inch single and a 12-inch LP is the distance between the grooves. On a 12-inch LP or album, the grooves are more compact and tightly fit together, resulting in more songs per side. The 12-inch single has wider grooves that are more spread out, and that results in fewer songs per side. Now, Melanie, why would you ever want to have fewer songs per side? What's the point? Well, let me tell you. Wider grooves result in a higher dynamic range, which means that the treble and the bass sounds are more prominent in the record, giving the album a higher quality of sound. 12-inch singles, as opposed to 7-inch singles, which are also called 45s, are more prominent in electronic music, where the high dynamic range is more important, especially the bass. The speed at which these records are played also plays a role in which type of range is more prominent. If the record has a play speed of 33 1/3, the bass will be more prominent, whereas if the record has a play speed of 45 RPM, then it will have a better treble response. The 12-inch single was first used in Jamaica in the 1950s, and by 1956 it had become an industry standard there. The 12-inch single did not come to America until the 1970s, when disco was becoming popular. Record companies were trying to revitalize the dying singles market. In the early 1960s, singles were far more popular than albums, and it wasn't until artists like the Beatles started making songs that were more than just a few singles padded with some filler songs that people started to pay attention to the album as a cohesive art form. Ghosts. One early 12-inch single release in America was I'll Be Holding On by Al Downing. It was put onto a 12-inch disc from a 10-inch acetate for record producer Tom Moulton. He looked at the disc and noticed that there were only a couple inches of grooves on the record, and he didn't like how that looked, so he said, "You need to make this for me again, and I would like you to spread out the grooves so that it looks more like a normal album." And when they played the new record, they realized how the wider grooves affected the sound. This accident turned into the industry standard for 12-inch singles. Beginning in the 1980s, artists would use this format to release extended versions and remixes of their songs. So the 12-inch single that I chose was Sun, Lessons. I just think this song is so cool. It has a really driving synth. Dun, 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 dun. This is one of my go-to running songs. It allows me to set a good pace. I really like running to kind of dark, intense songs to kind of keep me focused. This is a song that keeps me focused. Dark driving synth, love it. Love this song. It's so cool. Side A is the single Lessons. What's cool about this one is that the B side is the instrumental and the a cappella version. You don't really get those a lot of times. Artists kind of keep those under wraps, but not Sun. The a cappella is really cool to listen to. It gives the song a very different feel. One of my friends showed me the a cappella version, and then later I went back and listened to the full version, and it was just not what I was expecting at all. So if you ever want a trippy experience, listen to an a cappella and then listen to the real track. It will just throw you off a little bit. Thank you so much for watching day 12 of May Record a Day. I'll put one of these out every single day, probably through a little bit of June, because I started late and I missed a day because of Paul McCartney. Worth it. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for putting up with my love for random bits of music history.